Welcome to Joke Ruiners, everybody. I'm your host, Kruger Dunn, and with me is the very funny comedian, Jonathan Flanagan. John, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
What's up? I'm John. I am Capricorn. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not. I am actually a Gemini. I don't know why I said that.
You're two-faced.
That's true. I originally from Southern California, still from Southern California, comedian. Check me out, realgoodcomedy.com. I host Trigger Warning at the Ice House whenever live comedy comes back on.
Great show.
And check me out on Instagram at Jon Flanagan. I do most things there. Post some dumb stuff on there.
So what we're going to be doing today is checking out two stand-up clips. And in order to make them super funny, we're going to over-explain all of the jokes, interrupt the pacing, all that great stuff.
That's how you make things funny.
Exactly. John's been doing stand-up for, 8 years now?
Probably like 7
years. Personally, I've been doing it for 13 years and I've achieved nothing. But I do know a lot about the structure and craft of stand-up comedy. So today we're going to break down a clip from Mitch Hedberg, one of the all-time
Probably one of
greats.
My favorites. Definitely one of my most influential.
He's probably in my top 5. And then we're going to watch an old clip that John has bravely submitted of his first ever show at the Comedy Store when he was just a couple years into comedy.
I was probably I probably got fully committed to stand up that March, and that was probably like November that same
wow,
year.
so not even a year. Okay, so I haven't seen either clip yet because I want to remain honest.
You made me go and look at, I watched it for the first time in a long time last night before I sent it to you, and I had to also unpublish it because it was like a private video. Now it's like published on YouTube as well.
Oh, you could have done unlisted.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's what it is.
Okay,
but as soon as it's over, I'm going to put it back to private. But just looking back, it was so nostalgic because it's I remember why I did how I did the materials. I remember everything. It's just I did so much crowd. I used to just want to improvise on stage, and I think I did 3 jokes. It's a 5-minute set. I did 3 jokes, and the first minute and a half is just crowd work, improvising. I don't know.
Well, that'll be fun to break down. We'll get to that later. Right now, I'm going to queue up some Mitch Hedberg for us to watch. And this is from his late night with Conan O'Brien. I don't know the year, but it was 2004. So classic clip here. And here we go. Oh, just give me a wave or say stop when you want to add some information.
All right. Thank you. Hello. This is my second time on the show. All right. I mean, the first time must have been okay. But they say during the summer that drinks are ice cold. I hope not, because that means they would be impossible to drink. Because they would be solid. Here's a beer, man. It's ice cold. Damn it. I guess I can lick it.
Pause it. I talked over the fucking tag because I didn't realize he was going to do a second punchline. I don't know if you heard it. He said, "I guess I can lick it."
Yeah, I heard.
First of all, he's extra twitchy in this clip. I think this.
Yeah.
He died in 2006, so he shouldn't have been too. Maybe he was on the bender that week. But he was a heroin addict, for those who didn't know. But he's so, I don't know. I just love. So one, his jokes are completely the most observational of everybody. It's so crazy how observational his comedy are. And there's certain jokes like this one I've never heard except for on this clip, which I only recently watched. And so it's so funny how he has which I think is a good joke. I mean, it's simple, but and he does them, but then you can tell it's so funny. Sometimes he does the first punchline and he doesn't even like it, but it's just so he can do the next 2 tags.
Yeah.
It's he did the punchline, which was it'd be possible to drink, and he kind of looks nah, fuck. That's what his body language yeah, fuck.
Yeah, it's weird because I once got a note because I used to kind of rock back and forth like that too when I did stand up, and they're it's very distracting to the comedy, and I had to agree eventually, and I kind of stopped doing it. But when he does it, it almost adds to the punchline.
Yeah,
so it's just it's just gotta match you. You have to do what you are.
Yeah, and and same thing with his the whole delivery. That punchline is not great, but he kind of just sells it by his look and not looking away. Just kind of I know it's a stupid punchline. And you're laughing because it's a stupid joke. You're also laughing sometimes because I didn't even think about that. It's so obvious.
Yeah.
But then his 2 tags are great, which I love. That's how a lot of his jokes, like the original punch is whatever, but he has these 2 tags that are so funny. Like I forget what the second tag was, but then the third one's like, I guess I can lick it. Like it's just, I love it. Anyways.
I read that last year MTV's Real World got 40,000 applications. That's amazing, man. Such an even number. You would think it would be 40,008, maybe.
I'm gonna pause there because that is an illustration of how your character and persona are so important, because that joke is so silly and unrelated, but because it's him, it makes it fun. I feel like if I did that joke, it would not even get a peep, let alone like almost applause break like that.
Yeah, and you definitely, it's his delivery. I mean, like they always, like you've heard this forever. It's like, oh, it's about the delivery, and he's like the best example of that. But also, like whenever he does like it personifies something or says a number, it's always a funny. He always does it in a funny way, like 2,000 or 40,008, and he always like emphasizes that number. He does the same thing. He always uses the same name when he talks about like a friend. He always uses someone named Ricky or Rick.
Oh, interesting.
And he does the same thing. I was like, "Hey, Ricky!" Like he always, like when he does that, but no, he does it perfectly.
Yeah, man. I got a lamp in my hotel room and it has a 3-way light bulb in it. If you don't know a light bulb's a 3-way light bulb, it messes with your head because you go to turn it off and it just gets brighter. Like, damn it, light bulb, that's the exact opposite of what I want you to do. Then you turn it again and it gets brighter once more. I will break you. That's the only reason I had this thing out here. Oh, yeah.
Okay, I love that because I love doing meta jokes or like addressing the obviously like this whole show is like let's over talk about what the comedian's doing. Like there's no reason to mention that he had the mic stand there, but it's so funny to me. I wonder like if a non-comedian loves that joke as much.
Yeah, I don't know. The light bulb might be too abstract. But this is the same style as his oscillating fan joke, which is one of his first jokes I remember. I watched his Comedy Central Presents, and that night at dinner, I was repeating that joke because we had an oscillating fan. If you know, but it's the one where he's like, it looks like it's saying no to you, like when it's going back and forth. So he's like, do you keep my documents in order? He's like, no. Do you keep my hair in place? No. Do you have 3 settings? Liar. Like that's the joke. And so it's almost like a more abstract version of that. You know?
Yeah, just like breaking down the most basic. It's almost like Seinfeldian, but if Seinfeld did heroin.
Yeah, basically. That's a good point. That's a really good point. Yeah, imagine Pop-Tart joke if Seinfeld was a heroin addict.
Yeah. That's a character sketch we should do. Seinfeld Hedberg.
Yeah.
Man, I saw a commercial that said, forget everything you know about slipcovers. So I did. And it was a load off my mind. Then the commercial tried to sell slipcovers, but I didn't know what the hell they were. Now, is a hippopotamus or a really cool opotamus? That's good.
I'm gonna say that's a bad joke. And he gets an applause break just because like the rhythm and like what is this guy talking about?
And he'll get on runs like that because he has such one-liners.
Yeah.
Like I heard you talking about this with Justin on the other episode. He'll do a run like that where it's like hip hop fits in there, but there's even ones where it's the same topic, like say a candy bar, and it'll just be a one-liner about Kit Kat has a name Kit Kat and printed in the candy bar. That robs you of chocolate. And then I'm going to the chocolate factory. You owe me some letters. And then blah, blah, blah. And he just kind of does a quick one. He does a little bit, few of those like on his album tours, but they're non-sequential. They don't have anything to do with each other. Like hippopotamus is a cool hippopotamus, or I went to the doctor. All he did was suck blood from my neck. Don't go see Dr. Acula.
Yeah.
Like just the worst jokes ever. But he just does it, hits him boom, boom, boom like a machine gun. Then you've already warmed up from the other previous jokes. So you just are like loving, like you're standing there getting shot fired and loving it.
Absolutely. So you've heard that called a run as well, because Justin hadn't heard that, but that's what I've always heard it called.
I mean, that's a run. That's a common. That's what you call it, like an improv. And I started improv, so to me, it fit. I don't know.
Maybe that's where I picked it up then.
Yeah, because it's definitely improv. Like you will do a run of tags when you're really hitting, and like say everyone's jumping in on this one bit that got set up, and everyone wants to jump in and get in on the jokes with that.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, that kind of shows you where placement of jokes matter, because like that, he opened with that joke, it would not have got
definitely not.
But because he just did built them up, going the fucking the roller coaster ticking up, and then we do a dumb joke. Yeah,
totally.
I want to rob a bank with a BB gun. Give me all your money, or I will give you a dimple. I will be rich. You will be cute. I got a belt on that holds up my pants, and my pants have belt loops that hold up my belt. What the hell is really going on down there? Who is the real hero?
I can't believe I never noticed this before. I've heard every album, watched all his clips, but like sometimes the laugh is just that you're confused. Whereas most comedians, when you're confused, it ruins the laugh.
Yeah, that's his persona.
Yeah,
so
it's amazing.
It's almost like you want Rickles to offend you. You want him to be space cadet.
Yeah, totally. I'm jealous.
It's true, because I got lucky enough to go be able to see him live before he died at the Brea Improv when I was a lot younger, and my man must have been 21 at least. That's how old I am.
Don't sue.
Yeah. And he had like a little notepad, like a little tiny one, like if you're a private eye, and he would at some point look down at it and flip through it, like, no, you already heard that one, and then flip again and do his whole thing like that, which I think was spontaneous, but it killed, and like we loved it. If he started doing a joke, like he would get halfway through the joke, like, you already heard that one, and then like stop, and it's like that was just as good as the joke when he said it. Yeah.
That's great as long as it's authentic. Yeah. I think that's like the number one thing for me. It just got to be authentic. Because like I would love to try. I've tried stuff like that. I'm not gonna lie. In my early years, you're kind of pulling from different comedians, trying different things. Like, what if I was the confused guy and everyone just got annoyed? They're like, practice your set, idiot. But with him, it's like the funniest thing you've ever seen.
Yeah.
Now, if I was a drummer and I accidentally grabbed, that'd be cool if you were a drummer and you accidentally grabbed 2 magic wands instead of drumsticks. You're pounding out the beat. Next thing you know, your bass player turns into a can of soup.
All right.
He even knows.
Can we take that joke out? Can we edit it?
That's like a common, not hack joke, but like commonly used joke now. It's still funny. Like Jimmy Pardo says it, Todd Glass says it a lot. Edit that out. Like that's one of the earliest references to it I've heard though.
Yeah.
And he did it on Conan.
Especially on a live tape. Yeah, late night set. Yeah, that's the second mess up he had where he messed up the intro of the joke. The belt one, he fumbled on the punchline. This one he fumbled on the intro.
Totally. And then it's like every time he messes up, you just like him more. It's like a superpower.
I love cottage cheese. That's why I want to try other dwelling cheeses too.
Then bang, he hits you with just like a killer Seinfeldian level observational joke. Amazing.
I want to try studio apartment cheese. Or maybe igloo cheese. Or if I'm feeling adventurous, mobile home cheese. Don't eat mobile home cheese during a tornado. It would be devastating.
Hey, pause.
Makes food products.
Oh, this next joke's one of my favorites. So that's also a good example. Like, the first time I heard this joke before I heard the next tag or the tag do it, I didn't understand what he said. I didn't get it. I wanted to try other dwelling cheeses because cottage is it's like a home, right? And right there, I bet it was conscious. It would have been from if I wrote the joke, if I was doing the joke, I would have definitely arranged the order that knowing that cottage cheese might go over some people's heads, even though he got a big laugh. Maybe I don't think it did. It went over mine. But then studio apartment cheese, okay, that's explaining the joke for me or for the dumb people. And then I can go to igloo because that's also could be confused. If you went cottage cheese, I want to try other dwelling cheeses, igloo cheese, I might think, is igloo a brand of cheese? I don't know because I don't eat a lot of cheese. Like I wouldn't have got it. Studio apartment cheese, perfect first punch, and then you can go crazy, go cottage cheese or roll home to whatever.
Yeah. And if you were getting like in a stand-up class notes, like, oh, rule of threes, make this one the pun, like, but he didn't.
Yeah.
Instead, he's like, let me explain it.
Yeah.
Then go to Crazy Town. And igloo is just a funnier word than studio apartment. So, you know, you always want to stack the funnier later ones.
Yeah.
And then I feel like he knows the, like, don't eat during, he's almost killing the joke. Don't eat it during a tornado. Like,
oh yeah,
it's not, like, end it. You already got an applause break. You got 2 follow-up tags, and he just keeps going and ruins it to the point where it's funnier somehow.
Yeah, which every now and then, if I think of a joke, especially if it's a short joke, and I'm like, how can I make this a better piece? I do this thing to myself where I do Mitch Hedberg in my head doing my joke, and just to try to flush out as many bits or tags as I can for the joke. And so like you go, because that's the step, he goes too far. Like I give a joke about the Trashmen actually, and it's about them waking me up. And so I just say all these one-liners about why they wake me up. Like, and one of my tags I have, because I just did this Mitch Hedberg run to myself when I was writing it, which is, I think they only work between 5 and 9 a.m. or something like that, which is like something he would say if he had that joke.
Right.
I do as many Mitch Hedberg jokes as I can, and then I just get rid of the ones that are
interesting,
ridiculous like that.
The ones that don't match you.
Yeah,
that's great. That's a good writing technique.
And he's a doctor, which means he went to school for a long time. But it doesn't take a lot to figure out that stepping on a cushion will be more comfortable. That dude wasted lots of time at school. Because I would have bought that from a Mr. Show.
I guess I don't really have to pause there. I just want to say that's one of the best jokes ever. That's amazing. The Mr. Show, so good.
Yeah.
And then he waves.
I wish they made fajita cologne, because that stuff smells good. I hate to sleep because, no, I like to sleep, actually. I hate to dream, because dreaming takes energy. It takes work. Sleeping is supposed to be a relaxing affair. I lay down on a bed, it feels great. Next thing you know, I have to build a go-kart with my ex-landlord.
See, like, even that, he messed up. He said, I hate to sleep. No, I love to sleep. Like, that was, but it's so earnest. They got a bigger laugh, or just as big as a laugh as the joke.
Every time he messes up, it's funnier somehow.
Yeah.
I wonder what it is exactly. Because, I mean, any comedian knows you can do a saver. You maybe prepare a saver line, or if you're just honest in the moment and say, I messed that up. But for some reason, when he does it, it's just extra authentic.
I wonder if like his whole style persona is almost like he's trying all these dumb jokes for the first time. He knows they're dumb. He's like, hey, let me tell you this. Like, that's the whole style. It's not like where, like I say, a Seinfeld or Mulaney, where I'm wearing a suit because I'm showing you this product, this professional product or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, this one's almost like you're just smoking weed with him in your basement, and like he's throwing out dumb ideas. Yeah.
Hey, if you can't sleep, count sheep. Don't count endangered animals. You will run out.
So dumb.
I bought a donut and they gave me a receipt for the donut. I don't need a receipt for a donut. I'll just give you the money, then you give me the donut and the transaction. We don't need to bring ink and paper into this. I just can't imagine a scenario where I'd have to prove that I bought a donut. Some skeptical friend, don't even act like I didn't get that donut. I got the documentation right here. I saw this lady on TV. She was born without arms. She was born with her hands attached to her shoulders, and that was sad. But then they said, Lola does not know the meaning of the word can't. And that to me was actually kind of worse in a way. You know, not only does she not have arms, but she doesn't understand simple contractions. Thank you very much, lady.
I love it, because I mean the donut one I kind of skip because that's like one of his most famous bits. But I love that because that last one is actually super smart. Like, I feel like if I did that joke, people are like, ooh, you're really cerebral. Someone said that once. Like, if you try and do any kind of language joke, but like the bashful way he presents it, like contractions, and like that's actually really, really smart.
That's funny. He has another joke about contractions. I think he just likes contractions.
Yeah, I guess so.
And same with the Dr. Scholl's bit. I wonder if he thought of that the same time he thought of Dr. Pepper joke, or vice versa. Like, it's kind of weird that he has those.
Yeah, so that was it for the Mitch Hedberg clip.
He's one of the most original characters ever do stand up. It's great. And like, and there's another example of him like kind of just trying to tag as much as he can with the donut bit. You know, like most people of a lesser comic would have, or even maybe like a more polished comic, someone who wants to do more edits and keep things tighter, would have quit at. He probably would have never said willing to bring ink and pen in this. Probably would have quit at just, I'll give you money, you give me a donut, and a transaction, and a joke. And then he has 3 more tags. That just don't even act like I don't have to prove. Don't even act like you didn't buy that donut. Like, who would think taking that joke to then like, oh, I'm talking to a friend about it. Like almost like an act. That's so crazy.
Yeah, it's amazing. I know there's a donut shop that I think prints that joke on their receipts. That's how famous awesome. That joke became. Yeah.
I used to work at Sports Chalet, which is now out of business, sporting goods store, and right next door was a Costco. And
wait, go there. Sports Chalet went out of business?
You didn't know Sports Chalet was. Well, actually, they're just used to go by your house.
Chalet, yeah, it was like right down the block.
Yeah, it's probably like my family first ever owned.
Cleats there.
Yeah, it was never even like incorporated either.
Oh, really? I didn't know.
Yeah, that. But there's a Costco in the same parking lot as a Sports Chalet. So every day for lunch, I'd go to Costco and get a slice of pizza, and they gave me a receipt every time for $1.50 pizza, and I would repeat that joke every single time. Sometimes with other people, most of the time just to myself. It's just the funniest thing.
Yeah, it's such a good joke. Just like everybody relates to it, yet we all just keep doing it. Like it's one of those jokes where you're like, oh, that's easy. Mm-hmm. Right? Like for me, the test of true genius is when you think, oh, that's easy. Someone's done that. And then you look it up and no one else has done it. That's like, you found a genius joke.
That's like the best compliment you can give a comic is like, oh, I wish I thought of that.
Yes, 100%.
That's like, oh, it was so, because that's why it's so genius, because it was there for everybody. It was on everyone's playing food. Like, you can't make a joke about me when I was 5 and getting whatever.
Exactly.
Like, because you weren't there. This is available for everybody.
It's no one observational. Thought of it. Yeah, exactly. And he made it his own on top of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. Any new comic, if you ever really want to compliment another comic, say you're jealous of it. I wish I thought of that. Something like that. Don't say like funny joke or nice set. Like we know you're full of crap. The only honest compliment is you wish you thought of it. Because no comic's actually happy for someone else having that great joke they wish they had.
Yeah, when I get mad at you for like having that joke, that's like, oh,
that's the ultimate compliment.
Fucking Micah thought of that before me. Yeah.
All right, so now we're gonna jump to John at the Comedy Store, and
this is literally like probably within the first year of doing stand-up, same year, and it was my first bringer show, which I only ever really did bringer shows at the Comedy Store. I did like 3 or 4 for the same promoter, and I would advocate for no comedians ever do bringer shows, just because if we quit doing them, then they would go away. Yeah. And then the comedians or the comedy clubs would have to put up a better show and book more comics and stuff like that. And so
I have done good bringer shows.
Yeah,
there just are some sleazy ones that kind of
run that's why I did the ones at the Comedy Store, and they were good, is because like there's been a couple times like this exact set. After I got off stage, Jesus Trejo told me, he's like, hey, that porn joke was great. And I didn't even know who he was at the time. Then he went up and performed. I was like, oh, wow, this guy's good. He's a paid regular at the Comedy Store. Nice. And then I did a different one where Bill Burr went up. I was Brent Moore and me, then Bill Burr. And it's like, but that's not going to happen anywhere else. So that's the only reason why I was like, if you are going to do one, might as well do one at the Comedy Store, where you never know who might see you and also who you get to watch. Or if you bring some friends, they also get to watch that person. So it's not just like a bunch of nobodies.
Yeah. Okay, let's get it. I want to remind everyone how brave this is. So everyone watching at home, understand John is probably much better than whatever I'm about to watch now. But I'm sure it's still at least decent.
It's like I said, let me preface this by saying, I used to like when I'd go out there, one thing I came from the improv background. And so I just kind of felt like, oh, I need to kind of like get acquainted with the audience before I did these jokes. Because the jokes are all just like dumb, non sequitur jokes anyways. And so I would just kind of do a lot of crowd work or try to improvise at the beginning, I felt like I was getting them on my side. And I didn't have a lot of jokes anyway, so I had the time to do that, which I've lost the ability to do it, I think, because as you get more material, you don't get the stage time to do that. And so I don't ever do it at all anymore, unfortunately.
Yeah. I mean, in longer sets, it's still possible. But yeah, you generally don't want to do it right at the top.
And a comedian before was kind of, I couldn't see the audience, I was backstage, but they talk about someone being old and they're looking in that corner. So I thought that, and I referenced some old people, and I realized after I looked, I was like, wait, they're not that old. And that kind of threw me, I don't know if you can tell, but kind of threw me for a second. Like, anyways.
All right, we'll see. Here we go.
Really soon. I'm being serious. He's never moving.
I was talking about the host. That's all.
Oh, gotcha.
We hear the accent, Martin. How you guys doing?
So that's like, everyone knows, like after a year of comedy, you don't ask how you're doing at the top of your set. Yeah, there's just a waste of 10 seconds.
Yeah.
But you know that.
Bedtime? Oh. How the kids? Good? I just assumed you had kids because you look really tired. I feel like
That's
I have
funny.
kids. I don't, but I feel like.
That's a funny line. You just came up with that and you were just riffing?
Yeah, this whole thing just at the beginning.
That's a solid line for first year of comedy for sure.
Like I do. I feel like I'm a single parent of 3. That's how lazy and tired I am. I don't know if Epstein bar or what, but
just talking so much.
So nerdy. Did you reference the Epstein Barr virus? But you don't explain at all like what that is or why it makes you tired.
I'm just jibber jabbering. That was like, Jesus Christ.
For people watching now, that's the virus that causes mono.
No, it's you get it from mono.
Oh, you get it from mono.
Yeah. Which is basically chronic fatigue, is what they say. Yeah.
I need to get on more upward drugs.
I don't even do drugs. I don't even do drugs.
That's true.
I
don't think I've ever seen you do drugs.
I don't even do drugs. Like I need to get an upper drugs. I'm just literally just talking.
I love it. I almost miss that feeling of like severe panic, like so much panic that you're calm. Because now I just like get up there and I'm calm or I'm excited. But like that early on when you're just like, like it's an adrenaline rush straight to your brain.
How you doing? Yeah, you got your Throwback Thursday pics? You post on anything today? Yeah? You guys post some TBTs? Throwback Thursday is a thing the kids are doing on Instagram.
That's a veteran move to go back to that first laugh you got. Like, did you see another comic do that, or maybe that's from improv?
I was before I did stand-up, which is kind of what made me want to do stand-up. I worked for this dinner theater company, the murder mystery company, where we did like murder mystery shows, and a lot of it was a lot of just crowd working the crowd because interactive. You like give people the mic and they would say stuff, you respond to them, but it's in a character. Like I'd have a wig, I'd be playing like a character, and so a lot of that was kind of like that kind of thing, where it's like, something gets established, you're talking to this person and like, oh yeah, you should talk to someone over there because it was already established. The whole room already heard about that person who's whatever, and so that's kind of what it is, which is why I love like crowd work and like Ian Bagg or Jimmy Pardo, or these people where it's like, because they set up so many people in the beginning of the show and then they can just go back to any one of them at any time, and it's the most fun for the whole room because everybody is in on that joke.
Yes. It's definitely a veteran move. Like you said, if you watch Ian Bagg, he'll connect 7, 8 people together at the end of the set. It's really, and that's impressive you're doing that so early.
You're probably curious why your daughter was asking, or your son or boy was asking for like old pictures. That's probably why. Sorry. Instagram's a social.
That's great.
Pictures of themselves. Pretty much because they need constant validation. Probably because you two are here on a Thursday night. It's gotta validate them. I'm saying, like, tie it up before your kid screws over my son later in life. You know what I mean? Because she has issues with her parents being out on Thursdays. I'm just kidding. Let's go to work tomorrow, huh?
I was gonna say it's impressive. Like, you're going very high status. A term I mentioned last time. I don't think he explained it. Where like the comedian can come from a place of high status, low status, or everyman would be like the 3 categories I'd say. Where like a Natasha Leggero is like a high status, or she's all a persona of it, but drawing a blank on a comic that's naturally high status. Maybe like a John Mulaney's a little bit high status. He's maybe Dave Chappelle.
It's what's his name? Fucking the old dude from Texas with the Scotch.
Oh, Ron White.
Like Ron White, that's kind of weird. He's kind of high status, but he's also I'm an everyman kind of guy.
He's a little bit everyman, but
Yeah,
he is coming from a high status point. Like, I know better. I've lived. Here's my wisdom.
Yeah.
Whereas then, let's stay with the blue collar people. Bill Engvall is your neighbor.
Yeah.
He's just the dude you see on the street. And then low status would be like a Stephen Wright or even Mitch Hedberg, who we just watched.
Yeah.
He's kind of low status everyman in the middle. So you were coming out as a high status, which I'd say is arguably requires the most confidence of any of the types, because you have to be so confident you're right. You're about to drop wisdom, and these people will still like you for some reason. And then you kind of back down. You're like, just kidding. I'm not. I don't know. You did get a laugh out of each part of it, but you can see that you weren't willing to commit there.
Yeah.
You're still here. Give it up for yourself. Yes.
Nice. That's a classic technique that works for every comedian. That's it. A lot of new comedians will use that to like reset a bad joke or a nervous energy. But honestly, I still do it. If the energy gets weird in the room, give it up for whatever.
See, and
the bartender.
Yeah. That's what's so dumb. Like, I started the show, my set, a minute and a half ago, and now I'm starting the set.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's literally what I'm doing. I came out there, just fucking did some bullshit, like talk nonstop, and then a minute and 34 seconds later, I'm like, all right, how you guys doing?
I wrote some jokes. Let's go.
So ridiculous. Yes.
I'm sleeping till noon. But then when I need health insurance, you'll laugh at me. So it's okay.
That's great.
Guys, I don't know about you. I've been doing some self-reflecting.
What did you say?
I've been doing some self-reflecting.
Oh, okay.
And like I was wondering, I'm getting serious for a minute. I was wondering, like say if I were to go outside in like the alley and see someone being raped, would I be brave enough to help? Would you?
Oh goodness. You're like, you got them rolling, you got them clapping. Hold on, guys. I'm serious. Here's a rape joke. Like, what the hell? Your confidence levels are so amazing for being so early in comedy. Like, props to that, no matter what, whether this gets a laugh or not. The fact that you had the balls to do this right there, I'm already impressed.
Because this is honestly the start of the show. Like, in my mind, I'm like, oh, start with this, hit him hard with this fucking, like, out the gate
so funny
joke. But
I would never start with a rape joke now.
And I said back and alley at the same time. I said back alley.
Oh, yeah.
You, sir?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I would too. But only if I get to go first. If I went second, it's like, you know, my mom always said, like, you're also raping everyone he previously raped. You know, I don't know where he's been.
I think you've done that joke pretty recently, haven't you? No, it might have been a couple years
not that you've seen, but probably like at a trigger warning show, probably.
Oh, right, where you're I think I saw you do it at trigger warning. That's why you were purposely trying to offend people. That's right.
The only time I did that recently was in Hawaii, and the crowd was being kind of just shitty.
Yeah.
And like they weren't giving me the laughs that they should have been. Like I'm doing like the battery joke. I'm doing like proven, tested, like 2-3 minute bits, and then like clean stuff, and then just like being jerks. So I said. And then I just started doing rape joke, dick joke. I don't know if I did this actual joke, but I'm just doing like offensive jokes at that point. And I literally said, I do a Kennedy accent. I'm like, you don't get the jokes you want, you get the jokes you deserve. And it brought them around. And by the end, it was a good show. But
that's great.
The first like 5 minutes of the set was rough. And so I just kind of like bailed on my good jokes and started doing this shit.
I think I did a rape joke once ever in my entire time. Like, I'm not offensive or edgy at all. Yeah. And I was killing, and I did it in the middle of my set and just bombed so hard for the next like 10 minutes before my set was over. Like, the host was like waving at me to get me off the stage. It's the only time it's by far the hardest I've ever bombed, just because I said the word rape.
Yeah.
So the fact that you're like pulling it off in your first year of comedy right there is awesome. And now, although nowadays I don't know if it would even work.
It might be harder now.
Yeah, a man's is not even allowed to say. Yeah. It's like the R word now. I don't even know if you can say the word, even if it's clever.
I have a friend named Meredith who's actually, she hates that joke. She's like, hey, you know what, John? That's not fair. You know, that's offensive to women. I'm like, Meredith, I'm raping a guy in this scenario, okay?
Okay, you're twisting it.
She's like, well, you're not gay. I'm like, you're right. I'm also not a rapist. It's called a fucking joke.
I love that. That's one of those, like, break down the joke from the comedian, like, let him in on the art a little bit.
Yeah, it's kind of like it didn't start with. It wasn't that good when I first thought of the joke. It was just the first part, and it was weird. And then somehow I just came up with that second part, and then I was like, oh, it's kind of like I'm telling them, hey, like here's a joke you should be offended at, and then means you're offended at it. Hey, fuck you, it's just a joke. And that's also what I thought. Okay, so I do that joke at the beginning, even though it's not really the beginning, and then now you're okay with anything else I do afterwards. It was like the idea behind it.
Yeah.
Even though I riff.
I mean, it's super clever. The twisting it back on the audience. I love that. Got an applause break.
What else? Oh, I just realized that someone I know, a acquaintance of mine, I just found out, this is true, that she used to do porn. And, not ooh. If you saw her, you would be like, ooh. Like, I'm not more attracted to her at all. I'm kind of more just interested. I'm very curious. And the only thing I like maybe you related to is like, what if you found out like your friend used to be a magician? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, sure, maybe when I was younger, I was more into magic than I am now, but I kind of want to see them do some tricks. You know what I mean? And, I think porn and magic have some similarities. Like, when people do a magic trick or a porn trick, they get the same reaction. The ones like, oh my God, how'd you do that? Or the ones like, oh my God, how did you do that? And it's like, daddy issues. The answer. The only difference that porn and magic do have, or the one big difference that I recognize, is that if I'm watching a magic show online, I'm not also currently searching a better magic show.
I've definitely seen you do this joke more recently, but it's like a third as long. Like you trimmed the words, you added like 6 more tags. I think you do it on Kill Tony, right?
Yeah, I did this on Kill Tony.
Anyone watching this, I shouldn't promote someone who's way more popular than me, but look up Jon Flanagan on Kill Tony. He does like a 1 minute of this bit, and it's like 6 more jokes in half the time.
Yeah, this is my first good bit. Basically, like this.
It's an applause. I mean, you have like 3 applause breaks at a bringer show. That's really good.
When I started doing like good sets, like this was basically probably like my closer for a while, and things like this was like the first. Oh, it's an actual chunk, and like I said, and then afterwards, like Jesus, like, hey, that joke is good. I'm like, hey, and it kind of got validated.
Nice.
But this is the only
feeling.
Yeah, this is literally the only joke. This joke has survived. I've done this for years. The same joke, and it's a little bit different. I have.
It's way better now.
Yeah.
I encourage everyone to go look up John's other clips. They're much tighter, really funny. This one's funny too, but like you could tell the years of experience.
Girls aren't sure what's going on. The guys are laughing. Guys, I don't know if you've seen these, but someone's getting clever in Sacramento because I'm on the freeway, and I swear to God, today I see there's these signs they have on the freeway, like electrical utility signs that have just very clever pieces of advice. I don't know. Today
I want to jump in here for new comics watching this. You said about 8 sentences there that you just didn't need. Like, I don't know if you've seen this. Someone's clever in Sacramento.
I saw this today.
Yeah. All you need to do is be like, I was on the highway, saw these signs. It's like 1 sentence, and you're there.
Yeah.
I saw a text or a call could ruin it all. That was what they said. Very clever. In the past, I saw click it or ticket. Seatbelt ticket costs $175. Trying to get to it's very clever. But then there's one that I've been seeing recently also that has no creativity at all. It's just super intense, and it says, "Serious drought, help save water!" Exclamation point.
That's a delivery joke because you still haven't even you're still in the setup. It's like a minute of setup, but just shouting that there is already funny. It's kind of like an Eddie Pepitone vibe, which I love.
It's kind of funny because like watching this, I kind of remember the feeling or the jokes I was doing, and I didn't really write I wrote the joke, like the meat of the joke I wrote down, like, my friend does porn, and the difference between porn and magic is that when I'm watching a magic show, I'm not also searching for a better magic show. That's all I have written. And it's like, I can't, like back then I was like, I would try to improvise into the set or into the joke, if that makes sense. Like I didn't know how to start the joke. I didn't know how to start any joke. And now it's like, oh no, you just fucking say the joke. Like, but back then it's the same thing. I was just kind of, I didn't know how to start the joke. I just had all these dumb jokes.
Yep.
And then I like, how do I start each bit? Like I couldn't just, and so I just would just improvise for a minute into every single joke. And yeah. And even the ending of this, I think I didn't do the ending I had thought of. I kind of like messed up, I think.
So when you did this set, had you been doing open mics before this? Or did
yeah,
you
I was doing a lot of
mics,
okay. But not really many shows. Like maybe a show here and there, but it's nothing good.
Because I'll do that at a mic. I'll just kind of like rant the idea out. Yeah. When the part gets a laugh, I just cut all the nonsense before that.
Yeah, now I write the whole, like everything I'm going to say, I have written down in a notebook pretty much.
Oh, nice.
But it's also so much more streamlined, like in trim. Like it's easy to do because I'm only saying this stuff. I'm not saying all the extra baloney. Like it's, I don't know.
Yeah.
And there's no ending in this joke, basically. As you'll see.
Yeah.
Just so intense. And it's like, really, these things are used for Amber Alerts, and they're not even as intense. Like, Rouge, gray SUV, stole a kid. If you're out on the freeway and you see it, give 911 a ring. It's like, what are they going to do now? They're going to like start mass text everybody at 8 a.m. Serious drop, guys, shower in pairs.
So that's all I had. Like, that's the joke. But then, of course, I'm just like improvising extra stuff for no reason at all.
Yeah. I mean, that's funny. Shower in pairs is funny.
Yeah. But once again, Mitch Hedberg was my biggest influence. So maybe that's why I would.
Trying to add the personality tags.
Yeah, I don't know.
So intense. And then the advice they give us is kind of like redundant anyways. It should be better advice. Like 10% is not a good tip, you know? Or that's for the waitresses here, guys. Seriously, 10% is not a good tip. Anyways, guys, thanks a lot. I'm Jonathan Flanagan.
10%. You had them rolling. You could have just said goodnight like 30 seconds earlier.
In my head, I had a tags like, I want to do 2 tags, like what better advice being. One was like something like in and out in 2 miles or something like that. And I just like, oh, she responded. It's like, okay, that's my out. Like, I'll take that exit. I don't know.
That was a really good set for your first year in comedy for sure. And I used to do that too all the time where you don't really know what your strongest outs are. So you just kind of like, oh, I'll do this stuff early. You get big applause and you kind of finish weak. I still kind of do that sometimes if I'm doing like a small bar show and I just want to try some new stuff. I don't have that planned ending, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, no shame in that. That was a strong set. Much better than I thought it was going to be the way you were talking about it.
It's what started the addiction for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once you get that one good show, you chase it until the next one. Yeah.
It was a huge rush. First time at the Comedy Store, like just his main room was full of people. Like the whole downstairs is full. There's maybe like a couple people upstairs, but that's it. The whole downstairs is 100% full.
Yeah.
It was crazy. And it was an extra long, stupid show. Like, but I had a decent spot. And then afterwards.
Did you bring a lot of people?
Yeah, I had 2, 4, like 8 people probably.
Oh, that's not bad. Because I was going to say, I made the mistake. I did that main room show, but I brought like 12 people. So they just kept bumping me later when like regulars would come in. They're like, oh, it's a packed house. Let me get a set. And then I ended up going on at like 1 a.m. My uncle was there. He's all excited because he had always loved stand-up. And like he paid for everyone for all their parking and stuff. And then he was so annoyed that it was so late at night. Yeah. But I still had a good set. But yeah, that's cool that you got a good spot.
And it's funny. I did one more in the same exact stage. And same thing, I'm like riffing the beginning, and I start doing some crowd work. I don't know if I have a clip of this one, but this guy in the front row, turns out his name was Mike, and I was like, oh, you look like I don't know what, I'm just fucking bullshitting like I did. And I thought he looked like a cop. Turns out he's a lawyer, and it's like similar, and we're just doing this thing.
Close enough.
Yeah. And then I was doing all right, get some laughs, I do 5 minutes, I get off, and then Bill Burr comes on, literally like 2 people after me, and then calls a dude out, but then I just killed all the crowd work with that guy, and he like, and Bill Burr like didn't get laugh. He's like, "What the fuck? Like, oh, we already met this guy or something." Like I literally like did like, oh, that's why you're not supposed to do crowd work if you're not like a headliner.
Well, you're saying at a bringer show that's different. If you're opening for him, then you don't want to do that.
He just dropped in to do like.
15. Although let's talk about that for a second, because like as a host, especially, you have to get it's a weird balance. Let's give some tips for like the new comics. Is you want to point out those people. You just don't want to do the jokes of it. You have to resist. Yeah. But like, I remember I did this show once and like the mayor was in the front row. And so like, I had to point that out, but not make the jokes about it. And then the headliner came up later and he killed with all the stuff I had set up. And he was really appreciative to me. But even though in the moment you have to like repress that urge.
And especially you would like say you do that and the mayor's in the front, you probably go and tell the guy, the mayor's sitting in the front row, you see him right there.
He was watching, so I didn't have to, but yeah, you would if they weren't watching.
Yeah, I opened for someone one time and same thing, like there's a couple of us, like there's like 3 of us and then the headliner, and like second show Saturday night, there's like some drunk people on this side, and so we go back and like, yeah, dude, there's some bras, they're gonna be trouble, like, and like kind of letting each other know it's like a game plan kind of thing. You're like, yeah, watch them, trust me, they're gonna be fucking trouble because they're already kind of knowing it just started, this and that, blah blah. It's like, oh, it's a pretty good crowd. Like this first, they're mixed people over here. It's like there's like a ghetto ass dude over there, like, and so yeah, but you don't go out there and do it on stage because then that's his job because he's doing 45 minutes.
Exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it was like I said, that was what started it all basically because it's pretty cool, like the whole experience, even though it was a shit bringer show. I mean, that was a tape I had for like a good year. That was like the only tape I had to try to submit for other shows.
That's a solid tape for early on. I mean, one of these days I'm gonna play my first ever stand-up, and I have my first and second ever stand-up on tape, and they're not as good as yours was.
I have my first open mic, and oh man, it's hard to watch. Also, like I didn't get rid of the stand, which I like. I still like the stand, but I've gotten rid of it.
Yeah.
But I remember wanting to keep. It. I also wanted when I first started. Before that, like I got rid of that before then. But I used to sit. Actually, no, because I did another bringer show. That was the first time I did the bringer show with that guy. I did another one for that guy where I did use a stool. Where I used to want to sit on the stool also.
Okay.
Like my very first open mic, I'm sitting down the whole time, like leaning on my knee, kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know why, but yeah.
I mean, for some people, it works really well. It's like Patrice O'Neill, right?
Yeah.
One of the best. Even he would usually stand, but sometimes when he'd settle in, it really worked.
Matter of fact, there was a mic I did at UCB, and Joe Weingart was the host. He is a Comedy Central special, which I didn't even realize he was a comedian until he got his Comedy Central half hour. Yeah, so he's hosting the mic there, and I sit on the stool, and this is one of the first couple mics I was doing. And I do the rape joke. This is before the rape joke had the second like the tag.
Whoops.
And then afterwards he comes up and kills just by coming back to stage and says, just like Cosby, sitting using the stool and opening with the rape joke. And like got a huge and this is before we knew Cosby was a rapist also, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah, way before. Funny. That's why it was so funny, because it was like, because obviously
that's
Cosby,
funny. It's almost a time travel funny joke.
Yeah. But yeah, it was bad.
Yeah, you never want to be the punchline of the next comedian. That's happened to me once or twice. Also at UCB. I think that's a very UCB thing to do, actually. Is like shit on the comic before you. Like somehow we've never been bad ourselves.
Yeah. The mic was very stand-up-y. It's so weird. It's kind of weird for being an alt room and the improv theater. The open mic was a lot of just the rounders you would see at the stand-up mic, and it was not alty at all. It's almost like I didn't like it because I came from the improv scene, the alt rooms, and that's what I liked. And this mic was like a real, like, all the comedians and not being alty at all.
Oh, nice.
Weird. Yeah.
That's funny for a guy like you who started in improv to not like alty. I mean, you like alty, but to not want to be part of alty. Yeah.
I did then. Now I'm so over it. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, back then I totally did. And that's what it was weird, because the mic was not alty. It was all these, like the Comedy Store open micers and those people going to it. And I was like, this is intimidating, you know?
Almost all my favorite comedians are alt comics that also kill at others, like Eddie Pepitone, Pete Holmes,
well, it's weird that
Andy Kindler.
All the alt comics I started watching before I did stand up was like UCB and people like places like that. They all became mainstream. Like I couldn't tell you a club comic back then. I mean, besides,
oh really? Even like Chris Rock and stuff like that.
I mean, Chris Rock, yeah, but he seemed already past the clubs. You know what I mean? But like just any regular, like I can't tell you, like nowadays, say like a Byron Bowers, a Kyle, I know all these people now, but back then I wouldn't know that status of comic at all.
Oh, gotcha.
I only knew the people that were going and doing comedy. That it was like Pepitone, it was Pardo, it was Steve Agee, and people like that. Brian Posehn, Patton Oswalt, Zach Galifianakis, Howard Kramer,
nice.
Mark Maron is that group of kind of people. Pete Holmes a little bit, maybe Al Magical.
Al Magical is great. You almost talked about him today. I gotta have you back. We'll go over Al. He's one of my faves too. Super nice guy.
Yeah, and that clip, why I like him, and even that clip, is because he's like he's a Hispanic Mexican comic, but he doesn't do the whole, let me play up that fucking, let me do fucking,
although he does have that one joke, the one about his cleaning lady that does the drug. What is it?
My goodness. Did she steal his money?
It's like no son dragas, something like that. Is that how you say it? I don't do drugs. I don't know.
No.
That bit. Oh, it's one of my favorite bits.
Really?
I think he accidentally gives his cleaning lady magic mushrooms or something like that. And she just keeps saying, I don't do drugs in Spanish.
No, he'll do an accent and he'll do Spanish, but he doesn't really do like it's not like where every joke's just about Spanish or Hispanic culture. Like Lopez, everything's about Chicano
Although I
culture.
did love Lopez back
I
in the
love
day,
Lopez.
not gonna lie. Yeah.
I don't know which one it is, but one of his HBO specials, which is just fucking flaw. I think it's brilliant. It's so good.
I'm gonna have you back. We're gonna do George Lopez, Gabriel Iglesias, Al Madrigal, only Latino comics. We're gonna ride the stereotype cliche all the way to fame.
Yeah, even Iglesias does more the fat culture than he does Hispanic culture.
True.
Yeah,
that's true actually.
But Madrigal's great.
They're all great.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for doing this, John. You were a pleasure. Wonderful guest. Everyone, I want to just take a minute, do a standard appeal. If you could just click subscribe down below, you would make all of our dreams come true. Think about, when have you ever had this kind of power where your little button click costs you nothing and you make our wildest dreams happen? We'll probably get a Hulu series, probably get a CBS All Access limited edition Jon Flanagan stand-up special. I don't know why that one, but that's what we'll get. So please click subscribe, click subscribe, click subscribe. Click thumbs up if you enjoyed it. If you didn't enjoy it, don't click thumbs up, but still hit subscribe. Buy John's t-shirt.
Mitch Hedberg.
This is Mitch. What's your website? Plug it for us again.
Realgoodcomedy.com. Look at Mitch
you
Hedberg.
Heard it. There's Mitch Hedberg on the USA 1992, was it?
92 Dream Team.
92 Dream Team. Seinfeld, Richard Pryor. Go check that out. Realgoodcomedy.com, @FullDork, @Jon Flanagan on Instagram. See you later.